Hey everybody, so I know that I have been supposed to do this for quite some time now, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I kept saying I was going to write some things down and have something like notes ready to talk to you guys about this, but it just didn't happen. My life is crazy, and I just wanted to jump on here and just give you like a brief rundown of what happened with me. Okay, so in 2007, I was pregnant with my middle son, and I was getting ready to go to like the Lamaze class for him with my husband, and my one of my best friends stopped over and she was like, do you have Bell's palsy? And I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like right now I'm a nurse, so I wasn't a nurse then, so I wouldn't have known. I had no idea what she was talking about. And I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, well, you're talking out of the side of your mouth. And I said, that's really weird, because this morning my husband was like, wow, it's really cute how sometimes you talk out of the side of your mouth. And I was like, what are these people talking about? I did not notice it. And it was very slight at first. So we went to the Lamaze class, and we went through like the whole class. It was super weird. We went through the whole class, and the lady there was like, are you feeling okay? And I said, yeah, I mean, I'm really pregnant, but yeah, I feel okay. So she actually had me go over to labor and delivery, and they admitted me for, at that time, they were saying that they thought I may have had a stroke. So I was admitted to the hospital overnight, and I was really scared. I was like, what is happening? And they didn't do any kind of scan or anything, which now looking back was kind of weird. And they put me in a labor and delivery room overnight, and a neurologist came to see me, and she diagnosed me with Bell's palsy. So I started going to her as an outpatient. I went to physical therapy. I tried B12 injections. This is over like a course of many months. I gave birth to my son, which they said sometimes once you give birth, it'll go away. So I gave birth to my son, and started doing like physical therapy, and they would use the TENS on my face, and do all the heat, and you do like exercises where you blow out your cheeks and all of these things, and nothing was helping. So after about probably a year and a half of seeing that doctor, I just kind of gave up. Please don't give up. Okay, if that's like anything that you take away from this message, is don't give up. Okay, so fast forward like 12 years later, and I'm a nurse in the hospital, and I see a patient who, now I've seen a neurologist. Let's rewind this. I saw a neurologist a few years back because I was having trouble swallowing, and I always have trouble like getting my words, and I know a lot of you in the group have said the same thing, but I was having trouble swallowing, and sometimes my tongue feels really big. Does that happen to anybody? Does your tongue feel big on when you're trying to talk? It feels like it gets in the way. So I was nervous that something was going on. So I went to a neurologist, and they did a brain scan and MRI, just a regular plain MRI, and they didn't find anything. So they stretched my esophagus. They said maybe my esophagus was a little bit strictured. I had like a swallow study, all these things done, and everything was negative. So I said, okay, like this is just my fate. There's nothing I can do about it. But then a friend of mine told me about a facial paralysis center about an hour from my house, and made an appointment there. And then my insurance changed, and I couldn't keep my appointment, so I did not go there. So fast forward for a couple years later, and I'm a nurse in the hospital, and I go see a patient, and usually I go through my day not even thinking. I mean, I know that my face is messed up, but I pretend that it isn't. So like when I'm talking to people, I either don't make eye contact with them, I like avoid conversation, or I just do what I need to do. And well, that's awesome that acupuncture worked for her. So we're going to get to the point where what I have is not Bell's palsy. Okay, so I went to, I was going to make that appointment for a facial paralysis center. I had an appointment, and then my insurance changed, and I couldn't go there. And there was no other place close to my home. So I see this patient who had mastoidectomy to relieve pressure on her facial nerves. She had bilateral Bell's palsy, And she may even be in this group, and she is okay with me sharing some of her story. But I go in her room and I do an interview. I was doing case management, so I'm asking her some questions, and I never would, like, even though we had similar diagnosis, I would not say like, hey, like, my face is messed up, what happened to you? So she asked me, why, like, can you tell me, like, do you have Bell's palsy? And I said, well, I was diagnosed with that a while ago, but I haven't really sought care for it in a really long time. And she said, well, you should go see this doctor here at this hospital. She told me his name, and she said, he really did help me, and he really cares, and I think he would try to help you. So I was like, okay. And I'm a Christian, so I thought, okay, maybe like God is leading me in the direction of this, so I'm going to pursue it and see what happens. So I called that same day, and I made an appointment with this doctor, and I saw him probably like 2 weeks later. So I go into his office, and this is what happens to me, and I wonder if this happens to you too. As soon as they see my face, they're like, you have Bell's palsy, and if it's been that long, there's nothing we can do for your face. But I was still interested in a gold weight in my eyelid. So I was still talking to him, and he was talking to me about plastic surgery. And for me, it's just, I don't want to go through that after what I've been through, and I'm going to get there in a second. I promise. I'm trying to make this as short as possible. But, so he was like, well, you say you're deaf in your left ear. Like, maybe we can do a hearing test. Maybe if nothing else, we can get some of your hearing back. And I said, oh, okay, well, I'm here already. Might as well let you do a hearing test. So he does a hearing test, and he says, this is strange, but he calls me on the phone at work. And it's like, I think we need to do, oh no, I'm sorry, I'm lying to you. Rewind. So in the office, he does the hearing test, and he said, it's really weird. You can hear better through the bone behind your ear than through your ear itself. So this is odd to me, and I think we need to do a scan. So I was like, okay, that's creepy, but yeah, sure, let's do a scan. So he did scheduled me for like a multi-plane MRI with contrast, and come to find out that I had what's called a clusteatoma, and it was growing in the same place as an acoustic neuroma would grow. And usually clusteatomas grow from your inner ear out. And also rewind, because I had a clusteatoma when I was a child, and that's how I lost my hearing. However, I didn't realize that they have such a big chance of regrowth, and they grow super slow. So, and I did tell my neurologist that I had that when I was younger, and I didn't know what it was at the time, because like I said, I wasn't a nurse at the time all that happened. And I still didn't know a lot about clusteatoma until now. But anyway, mine grew straight up and severed my facial nerve and was laying under my temporal lobe. Yes, I still want to talk about that gold plate in my eye, but I had a surgery last year, and I have a scar because they had to go in through my temporal bone. So I have a scar that comes from here to here where they cut me. And they went in, lifted up my brain, went down through that way to get the clusteatoma out, and then came back out, put my skull back together, and closed me up. So I had a craniotomy in August of last year, and I am due for a scan to see if there's any regrowth. I did have a 3-month scan. There was no growth. And I'm due to have a 1-year scan, but with the corona, I haven't gotten in to do that. But I am going to check on that gold eye weight. I work from home now, so recovery, I wouldn't have to be off for so long because I work from home. So yeah, if you have had anything, any kind of inner ear issues as a kid, and if you have an MRI that comes back negative, I would ask for a special MRI. It's like I think it's called multi-plane MRI with contrast, because I had, over the past couple of years, I had at least 3 MRIs that this did not show up on. And the ENT doctor who I saw told me that you have to have a special MRI for this to show up. And when I told the previous doctors that I had a clusteatoma as a child, they should have checked for that. So, yes, the craniotomy was probably the worst thing that I've ever been through, and I've had 4 kids. So, yeah, craniotomy is not fun. But the good thing is I try to stay positive about this, and I encourage you to do the same, because this can really be something that affects you and makes you depressed. and you don't want to interact with people. I know for me, one of the biggest things it has impacted is my ability to worship at church, because like I close my eyes, but this eye doesn't close. And, you know, I'm always worried that people are going to look at me. And then, you know, you get that ugly cry where only half of your face is crying. And you're like, oh my God, everybody's looking at me. I look like Shrek. But you don't. And we have to try to move past it if this is something that's not going to get better for us. And know that you are amazing and wonderful and beautiful, and everyone is broken in some way. Ours is just a little more apparent at the surface. So I just want to encourage you, though, that if you've only seen one doctor, to please get a second opinion. Even if it's a little inconvenient, it can make a huge difference. And I wish that I would have done that before, but I just kind of gave up. Like I said, I got pregnant with my daughter when my son was only 6 months old, and I had been going through therapy and taking him with me and getting B12 injections and doing all of these things, and nothing was working because it wasn't Bell's palsy, and I had that mass pressing on my nerves. So if it would have got removed sooner, the likelihood of my face recovering would have been much greater than now, which is literally slim to nil, except for a miracle from God, which I can still believe for, and I hope that you can believe for yourself to get that too. And I'm probably rambling now, but if you guys have any questions, I'll gladly answer them for you. But yes, I am gonna talk about a gold weight in my eye. I am gonna see about Botox. Today is a pretty good day. I don't know if you guys have days where your face is worse than others, but sometimes I have like a pooch that droops right here because of everything is just right there, it feels like. And I get like this little thing of like a fluffy pooch of skin. But yeah, that's it so far. That's it in a nutshell, I should say. Of course, you know, there's lots of things in between, but that's the skinny. So I'm sorry it took me so long to get on here. Like I said, my life is crazy. Everybody's is. And right now with the Rona and all this craziness going on. But anyways, I hope that you guys are encouraged. I hope that you can find a way to move through it and to just accept what it is and know that this does not change your worth as a human at all, and it doesn't define you at all. We are still amazing people. We are still, you know, moms, friends, dads, whatever. We still have things to do in this life, and don't let this hold you back from doing things, okay? That is the message. 2 takeaway messages. Get a second opinion. I don't know, they never told me that, and I don't think that I do, but I don't know. Sometimes when I work out, like when I lift weights, it's weird because my chin will start to turn, the muscle starts to spasm, and this eyeball always rolls up. But yeah, other than that, I don't think I have that at all. But I would love to hear some of you guys' stories. I just know that mine was a little different, as I was diagnosed with Bell's palsy, and then my diagnosis changed 12 years later. So it was kind of a shock, and I will never forget the doctor saying, "I don't want you to lose sleep over this. We've never seen cancer there." And I was like, oh my God. You literally said that. But thank God, hallelujah, it was not cancer. That's it, you guys. If you ever need support, if you ever need someone to remind you how wonderful you are and how loved you are and how amazing you are, reach out to me. I would love to do that for you. I would love to pray for you. I would love to just help encourage you and let you know that you are worthy of everything and anything anyone else is. And I want you to just keep pushing forward and keep moving past this. Like I said, I've been at this for 13 years now, and it still sucks. There are still days when I see a picture of me and I'm like, I hate it, and I want to cry, and I want to smash the phone of the person that took the picture without telling me. Give me a chance. But think about this: when I'm older, I'm not going to want pictures on this side. I'm going to want pictures on this side because there are no wrinkles. Anyways, I love you guys. Have a great night, and I'm here if you need me.